A White House appeal challenging the ruling of lower courts against the constitutionality of President Trump's tariff is pending before the U.S. Supreme Court. The top court is expected to deliver rulings on argued cases when it takes the bench on Wednesday. Legal experts believe the fate of tariffs imposed under a 1977 emergency powers law could be among them. The Supreme Court added a non-argument conference date on its website on Wednesday. However, the court does not indicate which ruling it wants to publish ahead of time. The ruling could come as soon as Wednesday. Now, given the far-reaching effects on global economies, the challenge to Trump's tariffs has attracted a lot of attention. Both conservative and liberal justices voiced concerns about the legality of the tariffs during oral arguments in November. Betting markets think there is a high chance the White House loses its appeal on reciprocal tariffs on the EU, China and the rest of the world being struck down. Polymarket shows only a 27% chance that the top court rules Trump's tariffs as legal. A decision against the levies would undermine Trump's key economic strategy and mark his most significant legal setback since resuming his role in the White House about a year ago. On Tuesday, Trump announced a new tariff of 25% on any country trading with Iran. He also predicted disaster if the U.S. Supreme Court were to rule his tariffs as illegal. The president estimated that many hundreds of billions of dollars or even trillions were at stake if the government was forced to refund tariffs already collected. In a Truth Social post, Trump said it would be a complete mess and almost impossible for our country to pay. He added if the Supreme Court rules against the United States of America on this national security bonanza, we are screwed. The Trump administration has said that if the top court does not rule in its favor, it will use other statuses to push through tariffs. Now, still, if the chorus-singing administration were to lose the case, the U.S. would need to refund at least some of the tariffs. According to latest Customs and Border Protection Agency data, tariffs had generated $89 billion in revenues to the U.S. Treasury by the end of August.
The Trump tariffs have delivered us trillions of dollars of new investment, unprecedented new partnerships on minerals, rare earths, defense, and artificial intelligence, and historic levels of foreign military sales. You know, you have the Supreme Court now going to rule on whether or not we can use tariffs. Can you believe this? A case brought about by people that are China-centric, foreign-centric, but China-centric. I wouldn't want it if I was China either. You know, China's one of our biggest taxpayers right now. China, would you ever believe you'd hear that? And they've been great. My relationship with President Xi has been great. But we have a group that's foreign-centric, China-centric, suing, and we'll figure something out if we don't win. But we should win. I mean, we should win.
For India, the timing could not be more critical. Now, the outcome of this judgment will decide whether Indian firms are able to recover important summer contracts or whether they will permanently lose American clients. Amid the uncertainty, Indian exporters are pinning their hopes on the U.S. court stepping in. India and the U.S. remain locked in negotiations on a trade deal, but no breakthrough has been announced so far. And for more on this, we are being joined live by Johanna LeBlanc. Now, she is a national security law analyst and foreign relations expert. Well, Johanna, welcome to WION.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right. So, my first question is, President Trump warned that a loss in court could trigger payback of hundreds of billions. But if we include investment damages, that number hits the trillions. Now, is the U.S. Treasury actually liable for these massive secondary damages, or is the payback legally limited to just a refund of the duties collected?
That is a good question that you just posed. And I haven't really explored some of those different options that you just mentioned. But what I will tell you is that if the United States were to lose the Supreme Court case, the United States will have to repay back billions of dollars to countries. Now, usually how the court works is that those monies will not be distributed back to those countries immediately. The United States may have a year or so, or even several months to give those dollars back to the various countries.
Right, and these tariffs have
The
funneled.
administration has used tariffs as a way to negotiate better trade deals and also bilateral relations with countries around the world.
Right, Johanna. Now, these tariffs have funneled over $150 billion, right, into the Treasury since 2025. If the Supreme Court strikes them down, let's say tomorrow, it creates an immediate massive hole in the federal budget. My question here is, can the administration effectively rebrand these taxes under different laws like Section 232 to keep the revenues flowing?
Well, one thing that we know about the Trump administration is that he's very creative, and he's always looking for opportunities within the laws that we have here in the United States to engage in whatever foreign policy actions that he wishes to engage in. So I will say this, I don't think the Supreme Court's ruling, if it were to be against Mr. Trump's tariffs, would stop President Trump from reaching his ultimate goal. President Trump will find another way through our laws to execute his agenda at the end of the day.
Right, and India is already facing 50% duties for its Russian oil imports. Now, with the threat of 500% tariffs looming in the new Russia sanctions bill, if the president loses his quote-unquote emergency tariff powers in court this week, now does he lose his primary leverage to force New Delhi to stop buying Russian energy, or does the new bill bypass the court entirely?
Again, as I said earlier, President Trump is one who is very creative. If President Trump and his cabinet members believe that there is a policy decision that is required, that is needed in order to advance its economic interest, the Trump administration will do so, even if it means that they will have to go back to court to litigate again. As you know, President Trump has acknowledged, and his administration has acknowledged, that China is an economic superpower.
I think we have lost our guest, Johanna LeBlanc, but we'll continue this story further. Right. Thank you so much, Johanna LeBlanc, for joining us and getting us details on the same.